thoughts. Only Villanelle kissing another woman. No thoughts. Only Gunn lifting weights in that white tank top. No thoughts. Only this show keeping Eve and Villanelle apart until the very last episode ever. Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I'm just going to be reviewing episode 7, season 4, Killing Eve. We are one episode away from this season, from this show being over entirely, and I am not sane. Well, we knew that, but I am not okay. We also knew that. So we have the episode itself to talk about, but we also have the fact that this was the second to last episode of the final season to talk about. So you might want to strap in. As a disclaimer, there will be spoilers in this review, so if you haven't seen this episode, then as the great poet Jojo once said, get out right now. It's the end of you and me. It's too late and I can't wait for you to be gone. God, I had a crush on her growing up. So the episode starts on Gunn's Island and Villanelle is living out her lesbian cottagecore fantasy. I have to be honest, the idea of living in the wilderness with a strong woman appeals very heavily to my interests. That sounds like my dream life. Gunn is serving Eileen Wernos realness in this episode. I mean, she captures a man, she drags him back in a net, and she cuts him open. And Villanelle is into it. Villanelle looks small next to Gunn, and it's really adorable because I'm used to her being kind of taller than women, and now she's the small one. And it's cute. I've forgotten the last time that we saw Eve wearing a suit, but she looks fly as hell. She looks so good. Okay, so the scene with Eve doing karaoke, it was a little bit awkward. The scene was obviously used to establish how she was having trouble moving on from everything that had happened. We got a cameo from Dead Nico, which the fudge moustache is back, you know? And then there's a short talk with Yusef about how she's having trouble moving on, and Yusef decides to leave her, which finally. But the whole thing felt a little bit disjointed, and I get what they were trying to do with that scene, and the scene needed to happen so we could get rid of Yusef. And so they could establish how Eve was unable to leave everything that had happened behind. But it just felt to me like it was a little bit disjointed, and I think I found this scene so awkward because Eve started off this season so self-assured, and now she really seems to be spiraling, which is a fair development given what's happened, but they've chosen to try and unpack her trauma one episode before the show is going to end for good. So of course it's going to feel rushed. So Carolyn finds herself in deep trouble this episode, but as usual, she has the neurons to buy herself more time, and if I'm honest with you guys, I find it really unrealistic that Carolyn is still alive, considering how much hot water she's in. But okay. The thing is, once you start to split hairs with this show, it just doesn't lead to anywhere good. You know, that road leads to madness, so we will leave it. So Eve goes to see Martin, and that's the same therapist which Villanelle went to, which is very much giving me Bet, Tina and Dan Foxworthy vibes from the L Word. It is. But this scene is pivotal both to this episode and I suspect to the finale. Eve is being directed back to Villanelle in this scene, and if we listen to what Martin is saying, where he tells Eve that she needs to go back to the people who love her and who understand her, that's obviously Villanelle, and that's reinforced by the music that's playing, which is of course the iconic Villain Eve song. It is. So this part of the episode was quite important, and Sandra Oh's acting in this scene was just, she continues to blow my mind with her acting. I am a proud Sandra Oh ass kisser, I am. And of course Eve visits Constantine and gets Villanelle's address, so we kind of know where this episode is headed. Yes. Okay, so going back to Gunn and Villanelle in this episode, here are my thoughts. here they are. I think Gunn is incredibly hot. I think she's incredibly interesting. I just wish they had introduced her earlier on in this season and given her more screen time, because she makes an interesting addition to this show, especially when she's lifting weights in that white tank top. I was gay. Okay, so if I'm honest with you guys, I'm not mad about the kiss between Villanelle and Gunn. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. You cannot even begin to imagine how much I enjoyed it. However, I feel like this kiss should have happened much earlier on in the season instead of one episode before not just this season but the show as a whole ends. And here's the thing, at this point in the season, Eve and Villanelle should really be together already. There shouldn't still be all these other distractions and X, Y, and Z. So whilst I enjoyed the dynamic between Gunn and Villanelle, and whilst I definitely enjoyed the kiss so much, it's just a little bit disappointing that we only have one more episode to go and the person that Villanelle is kissing isn't Eve. Here's the thing, you know, we're one episode away from this show ending entirely, and the whole premise of this show was built on the attraction between Eve and Villanelle. So at this stage, for Villanelle to be kissing someone who isn't Eve feels a little bit disappointing and feels like a poor choice. I'm going to give my thoughts on this after I've reviewed this episode by itself, but yeah, as much as I kind of enjoyed the dynamic between Gunn and Villanelle, and as much as I definitely enjoyed that kiss so much, this shouldn't be happening at this stage, and I don't know why they've done this, but okay, anyway. Rest in peace, Constantine. You were a funny man. You really were. So I did have a feeling that Constantine would die at some point. A bit like Carolyn, he's just someone who has a lot of enemies. He's just someone who has a lot of people waiting in line to kill him, you know? But I wasn't expecting it to happen when it did, so it did kind of take me by surprise. It is sad that he died like that, because it's not that he's, you know, a good person, it's just that he's grown on a lot of us over the years. I mean, we're at the end, but it's still sad to say goodbye to that character, you know? Now, before Constantine dies, he does receive a phone call from Irina, which might indicate that she's somehow involved in the finale, especially since he's been murked. But to be honest, who really knows with this show? I mean, it could be nothing. Yeah, for some reason, Pam just grew on me this episode, and I'm kind of like rooting for her now, so enjoy that information from me, okay? So the end of this episode, things start to escalate when Villanelle no longer wants to be domesticated cottagecore wives with Gunn, and she legs it, but at the same time Eve is on the way to get her woman, and she's in there, what is this show? Eve is on the way to get her woman in a tiny boat. She gets off on Gunn's island, and of course at this point Villanelle is running away from Gunn, and the episode ends with Gunn catching Eve, and we can only speculate what's about to go down. At that point, I was kind of expecting Villanelle to kind of jump out at Gunn, but anything could happen, and we're gonna have to wait and see what unfolds in the finale. We are. Okay. So I enjoyed this episode, and I felt like it was a mostly solid episode. There were parts of it which were a little bit disjointed, such as the karaoke scene, and there were parts of it which were incredible, you know, such as Gunn lifting weights in a white tank top. So I enjoyed this episode, but do I feel like this episode is the kind of episode that we want to be seeing when we're one episode away from the show ending entirely? I don't think so. I feel like this episode should have happened much earlier on in the season. I feel like at this stage, Eve and Villanelle should very much be together and working towards a kind of dramatic finale. I don't know why season 4 has decided to go down this road instead of kind of bringing them together a lot earlier in this season, because I will just say now, I feel like this season had such a strong start, and I was really enjoying it, but around halfway through, I was kind of seeing some red flags in terms of the Eve and Villanelle relationship. I feel like, you know, this whole thing about keeping them apart until the very end has grown tired and has left me quite kind of like disappointed and disillusioned, maybe. It's possible I'm going to watch the finale and eat my words and say it was the right decision to keep them apart until the very end, but I don't think so. I don't think so at all. In fact, I do feel like it's safe to say now that we've been unnecessarily starved of them being together, which is possibly understandable in the earlier seasons, since they were still very much in a kind of cat and mouse game and people enjoyed the whole kind of will they, won't they dynamic that was going on. But we're now in the final season, so it's definitely time for them to collapse into each other. I mean, it's just time, and yeah. Okay guys, if you've seen episode 7, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments section below. If you're a lesbian, if you're a woman who likes other women, come and join the Sapphic Underground Club. You can come and join the Discord. It's a great space to connect with other women, to talk about how great it is that Jodie Comer kissed another woman again. You get to connect with other lesbians and you get to support this nonsense. It's the final countdown. Look, just come and join it. Stop messing around and pretending that you don't feel for me the way that I feel for you. You know. I just think my houseplants look really nice when the sunlight kind of shines through the leaves and they turn a light shade of green. It's really nice. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon.